So today is day 72 of 2026. In today's vlog, basically, I want to talk about the book that I was currently reading, that was Men's Search for Meaning. I haven't finished the book yet because I haven't getting a lot of time. Like, it hasn't been a lot of days also. Like, I'm trying to read as much as I can each day. So currently I'm on page number 72. And the interesting thing about the book is the book just has two chapters. There's one chapter that basically ends at page 99 and page 100, and page 101 is starting off the next chapter. So there are only two chapters. The first part of the book is basically like an autobiography, where basically he talks about his experience in the during the Nazi German war and his experience in the concentration camp. And in the second half, basically I had read about that it he talks about post uh, post their life post the Nazi war, like after they were released from the concentration camp. So I want to talk about about the first part of the book that I currently read till now. So in the first part of the book, if you see, it gives a very black and white picture of the entire world. We may think that the book is talking of a particular scenario, that a particular situation or particular phase that took place during the Nazi German war. But after examining it, like looking it from a bigger picture, I feel that it still goes on in the day-to-day world, but maybe not to the same extent and maybe not in the same way. So in the book, there is the author tells us that he had the option of leaving the country and going to US. He had applied for an opportunity to work as a psychiatrist, but he denied it because he felt that at that time he needed to be with his family. He was also in a dilemma, like whether he should have left the opportunity, or should he stay as a good son with his family. So the thing that he used to decide that basically was a commandment that he came across. It was on a tablet that his father got home, that was from the church, which had basically 10 commandments. So in one of the commandments it mentioned like, honor thy father, thy mother, and you will live longer on this land. So it was something like that, and that made the author like rethink his decision, and he finally decided to stay with his parents and protect them in whatever ways he can. In between the chapters also he talks about Capo being the inmates that were also prisoners like him. So what were Capos? Capos were the people who were chosen among the people, among the other prisoners who were there, who were capable of being brutal with their inmates. They were usually murderers, very dangerous people, or who had done some really bad things. And selection process, it was also like they were made to fight each other, and the strong, like those who could fight well, I think they were selected as capo, and its privilege was not available for everyone. So capos were given good food of two time, like from a lunch and a dinner. they had the privilege of smoking a cigar, plus they had privileges of drinking. They had almost the same facilities as the SS soldier, that is Soviet soldiers. But the thing is, they were treating their inmates very badly. They were also prisoners like them, but just that they were given privileges that were not given to their other fellow inmates. They were using their power to basically ill treat the fellow prisoners. That is what happens in today's world also. There is a group of people, or basically among us, there are people, and maybe a couple of them are chosen to basically like look over uh, the other fellow members, but it may not always be good intention. And the people above them, they are the bosses. So the people who were chosen from the entire group of people who were given the responsibility of looking over the other fellow members, they are responsible to the bosses, and they will make sure that they do not upset the bosses, and the means that they might have to use, the decisions and the approaches that they might have to use for basically like ensuring that they do not lose their own benefits. They're going to do anything, maybe bad, maybe good. They're going to compromise their own values because they will see themselves first, because the goal is to survive and to flourish in one's own life. And this this thing is very common amongst most people who just want to get through life. Yeah, this thing also happened during Nazi German war. Like they care about their life, their privileges. They put themselves first, and that's still happening in our current day and time. That there are people who are doing that. So it's not just a one-time thing that happened during Nazi German war. It happens during this day and time, and I can see it. Just to maintain their own privileges and to keep their relation good with the upper hierarchies, they are going to compromise their own values sometimes. Knowing what is right and wrong is still going to be compromised. The book talks about survival, even using the most wrong means. So it's talking about the people who want to live at any cost. But the goal for every single person might not be the same. Not everyone wants to live at any cost, doing the worst things that are possible. There are people who want to live even doing the worst things that are possible because their goal is that they want to live anyhow. But should that be the goal? And that is a very personal question. So the topic, so the that thing about the book, I was like kind of in disagreement with it, like how it was like talking about surviving. The goal of them, their goal was to basically survive at any cost. But I was like, for me internally, surviving at any cost, doing all sorts of bad things just to compromising my own values, just to survive, I think was a real question mark. Yeah. So it usually depends. I would prefer to die fighting, keeping the truth, than to be alive, because we are called to be called to stand tall in truth rather than to compromise our values and our belief system and to lose faith amidst really tough times. So, with that, I end day 72 of 2026.